Hello, today we're going to work on classifying triangles by angle measurements. We have been learning all about acute, obtuse, and right angles, and now we're going to apply that knowledge to help us classify triangles by their angle measurements.
Hi, Miss Beulah here. Our first angle is an acute angle. An acute angle is less than 90 degrees. An acute triangle has three acute angles.
Now notice here we have triangle EDF, or you can say triangle FED, it doesn't matter the order. Now, when we are classifying this triangle by our angle measurements, notice angle D, this angle here, F and E, they're all acute angles. All three angles are less than 90 degrees. Now, I know we don't have a protractor to measure exactly the angle measurements, but just by looking at each individual angle, which I'm going to highlight here, so like we have angle DEF here, this angle is definitely less than 90 degrees. I'm going to also highlight this angle as well, just so you can see that this is definitely less than 90 degrees. Now I know you're looking at this on a screen, but if you were to turn your screen a little bit or turn a paper, you would see that this is also less than 90 degrees. Because all three angles in this triangle are less than 90 degrees, that means we can classify this as an acute triangle. Now our next angle and triangle that we're going to talk about is a right triangle.
A right angle is exactly 90 degrees. A right triangle has one right angle and two acute angles.
Now notice here in this triangle I'm going to highlight the right angle that we see, and I can also see that it's marked with a little box. That represents that this is a 90-degree angle. Because this triangle has one 90-degree angle, we can immediately classify this as a right triangle. When you are classifying triangles, look for this 90-degree angle. If you ever see an exact 90-degree angle or that box representing that 90-degree measurement, that means immediately you can automatically classify this triangle as a right triangle. Now our next type of angle and triangle we're going to discuss is an obtuse triangle.
An obtuse angle is greater than 90 degrees. An obtuse triangle has one obtuse angle and two acute angles.
Now what I'm going to first do is highlight where I see that obtuse angle, which is telling me I see an angle measurement that is greater than 90 degrees. Notice I clearly identified that angle that is greater than 90 degrees. My other two angles here, which I'm going to highlight in green so you can see, are definitely acute angles. They're very small angle measurements here that are less than 90 degrees. So whenever you immediately see an angle that you feel is larger than 90 degrees, even if you can't measure that exact measurement, but by looking at that angle, it looks like it's definitely an obtuse angle, that means you can classify that entire triangle as an obtuse triangle. Now, over here, I suggest you pause this page right here and copy down these notes so you can use it for today's activities. This is going through the three types of angles and the three types of triangles. When you are classifying triangles by angle measurements, the goal is to identify the types of angles you see that form the triangle. Once you can identify angles as acute, maybe you see a right angle, maybe you see one obtuse angle, that will help you classify the type of triangle and determine what type of triangle you see. It is important to understand that we're classifying our triangles to help us describe triangles, to help us describe and identify the types of triangles we have. Now, this example here is one that you may see today. Notice here, the first thing I see is I see this right angle marking here. That's telling me right away I can classify this as a right triangle. But I also notice here that I have two angles that are less than 90 degrees. Now, by looking at this, I see that it is in fact an acute angle because my angle degrees given to me is less than 90 degrees. So when I have two acute angles and one right angle, I in fact can classify this as a right triangle. In this problem here, it's classified as an obtuse triangle. Right away, I see that there is one angle measurement that is greater than 90 degrees, which is right here, 135 degrees. That 135 degrees is telling me that there is an obtuse angle, which means this entire triangle can be classified as an obtuse triangle. And last but least, we have an example of an acute triangle. By looking at the three angle measurements given to me, I see that 71, 71, and 38 degrees is all less than 90 degrees. Since all three angles are acute angles because they're less than 90 degrees, this entire triangle can be classified as an acute triangle. During today's activities, your goal is to look at the triangles given to you. Look to see, do you see all acute angles? Do you see one obtuse angle? Do you see one right angle? Once you can identify the type of angles in the triangle, it will help you when classifying the triangles as either an acute triangle, an obtuse triangle, or a right triangle. My recommendation to you is to please go back to this page here, and I suggest that you copy down these triangles. You can draw them on scrap paper so it helps you, and you can use this for today's activities. As always, feel free to refer back to this video on my YouTube channel.